You're watching the Weiss channel. Today we are going to graph radicals, specifically square roots. Okay. For example, we're going to graph y equals the square root of x. Now, to do this, we're going to put in 0 for x, because the square root of 0 is 0. After we put in 0 for x, we're going to put in 1 because the square root of 1 is 1. After that, we're going to put in 4 for x because the square root of 4 is 2. After that, we're going to put in 9 for x because the square root of 9 is 3. So my points are going to look like this: 0, 0, 1, 1, 4, 2, and 9, 3. So we start with 0, 0, and then 1, 1, and then 4, 2, and then 9, 3. And this is the graph of y equals the square root of x. All square root graphs will look like this, with this little curve at the beginning, and it goes on forever. There's an arrow at the end. Now, it's important to note that the graph starts here and will never go out here. Why? Because what's the square root of -1? Well, that doesn't exist. You can't take the square root of a negative number, so you can't graph that. So if you let on delta math even the slightest bit go before this dot here, you're going to get it wrong. Okay? So on delta math, you're going to have to start, and if you're using a phone, you have to use your finger that goes from here. It has to touch all of the points. It must touch all of the points, and you've got to see the arrow at the end. If you don't touch all of the points, it's going to tell you you're wrong. It's okay if it's a little squiggly, but if you don't touch all of the points, it's wrong. Okay? So your problems in delta math will look like this: y equals square root x plus 3 minus 3. So first, you want to make the square root 0. We're going to use 0, and we're going to use 1, 4, and 9. Because it makes no sense to try to graph the square root of 2, because the square root of 2 is 1.414, and that's no good for graphing. So we want to make the square root 0, 1, 4, and 9. So what can I put in for x to make the square root 0? Well, I'm going to put in -3, because -3 plus 3 is 0. So the square root of 0 is 0, minus 3 makes -3, so I have the point -3, -3. Boom. Then I'm going to put in -2. -2 plus 3 is 1, square root of 1 is 1, minus 3 is -2, so I have -2, -2. Then I'm going to put in +1, because 1 plus 3 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. 2 minus 3 is -1, so I have 1, -1. Then I'm going to put in 6, because 6 plus 3 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0, so I'm going to have 6, 0. And this is what my graph will look like. Okay. Now, these first two graphs have been positive, and they go in an upward direction. If I have a negative, it's going to go in a downward direction. Okay. What's the first number I want to put in for x here in order to get 0 in the root? I want -7, which will give me +5 here. Then I'm going to put in -6, because -6 plus 7 is 1, and the square root of 1 is 1. What number do I put in order to get 4? I put in -3. What number do I put in order to get 9? I put in 2. Okay? So I get these points, I plot them and graph them. Okay? Over here, what do I put in for x in order to get 0? I put in -4. What do I put in to get 1? I put in -3. What do I put in order to get 4? I put in 0. What do I put in order to get 9? I put in 5. So I have -4, -3, 0, and 5. And I get those coordinates. I plot them, draw the line, and it looks like that. You've been watching the Weiss channel.